What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the Wrestling Inc. podcast.
Take two.
Not the prodcast. Although there may be some prodding done before the end of this night. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the Wrestling Inc. podcast, April 6th edition. The other night I called it the March 4th edition, and I got harassed relentlessly. This show brought to you by TrendyButler.com. Use the code Wrestling10, all caps. Get a great deal at Trendy Butler. And also DDPYoga.com/Wrestling Inc. If you haven't done so, if you are on the YouTube page watching the stream, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube page. All that good stuff. Rob, I haven't spoken to you on video, at least, since NXT TakeOver Dallas.
Yeah, that's right. We haven't spoken since the whole weekend of craziness. NXT TakeOver, WrestleMania, Raw. Of course, you know, the big grimy Lucha show in Dallas-Fort Worth on Friday night. Yeah, there's been a lot of craziness. Yeah, but I'm happy to be back. The first show for us in April.
Now, the biggest news of the week, obviously, the Vaudevillains are on the main roster.
Yep. Yes, they are. And what's in a weird story, and it's got to be somewhat political, is the fact that they are debuting on SmackDown against probably the best tag team of the last 10 years in WWE, the Lucha Dragons, one of the more decorated tag teams in WWE history. And I wonder if this is just something, you know, Simon Gotch has all the makings to be the top guy in WWE. I wonder if this is just a way to keep Roman Reigns, you know, at the top and not really put so much attention on Simon Gotch. This all screams to me like Roman Reigns trying to keep his spot politically.
Okay, so on a serious note, what did you think when you saw that vignette on Monday night that said Vaudevillains debuting on SmackDown?
There was a lot of weirdness on. We hype ourselves up for the post-WrestleMania Raw so big, and maybe we should stop doing that because the last really crazy big moment was Brock Lesnar returning years and years ago. Paige debuting was you know, somewhat a big deal for a minority of fans. But last year, we had Neville.
What about Ziggler? Ziggler cashed in after, didn't he? Or was that the night of
WrestleMania before?
I think that was in 2013.
Really? Was it? Because when did he cash in? What was? Okay, maybe it was. Maybe it was. Okay, so be it. We had that crazy moment. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that came after. But we had that crazy moment. But we don't really have a lot of big time debuts. You know, Brock Lesnar, obviously a return. We got Neville last year. We got the Lucha Dragons. But they don't bring up the top names. And this year, everyone's talking about bringing up Finn Balor, bringing up Samoa Joe. Who did we get? We got the returns of Primo and Epico. We did get Enzo and Cass, which I think is probably the debut with the second most potential. And I do not say this facetiously. I really like Baron Corbin being up on the main roster. There was nothing left for him to do in NXT. But the Vaudevillains are coming up. And I've said this on my show, and I've said this on Twitter at Shake Them Ropes. I feel really like the Vaudevillains are coming up because they're throwing them to the wolves. You either sink, you either swim. We have nothing left to do with you guys. Now's the time to really test your mettle. If you fail, we'll get rid of you. If you succeed, great. But there's no more practicing. There's no more training. You guys have nothing left to do here. Go up on the main roster, see what you got. And will they end up like Tyler Breeze and, you know, stalled after 3 months? Or will they become successful? We'll see. But, you know, starting them up on SmackDown doesn't tell me they have a lot of confidence in these guys. They're just bringing them up to bring them up.
I'm with you 100%. There was nothing else. There was no direction for them on NXT. When I would see them on NXT, I was kind of disappointed. And I like them in the ring. I really like Simon Gotch in the ring, but I felt a sense of disappointment when I saw them because I was like, oh, gee, I hope they're not going to have these guys knock off a tag team. Like, I don't know. I felt this weird sense of contempt for them ever since the TakeOver Brooklyn thing because that really should have been Enzo and Cass in that spot. And ever since then, I've held this weird thing like there's nothing more that can happen with them in NXT. So I agree. I think it should be a sink or swim situation.
I tell you, with Enzo and Cass, I really feel like they thought any day they could bring these guys up. So they never wanted to give them a tag title run because they was just waiting. They were just waiting for the right spot. And here it comes after WrestleMania. I always felt like they were good enough to be the champs. They just didn't need to be because they were the most ready of any team there. So you let the teams who may not be ready, give them the title shot, give them more exposure. But Enzo and Cass didn't need that. So I was completely fine with them never winning the titles. The Vaudevillains are just weird. I mean, the Vaudevillains are the team that they changed their character, went from the sad, Vaudevillains to the happy Vaudevillains, cheering around, dancing. Then they went evil again. Then they went happy again. Then they went evil again. Their only change in character was going evil or happy. And they did the same vignettes like 3 times for them to when they switched directions. They're not like a Tyler Breeze who went from Mike Dalton to Tyler Breeze and, have a completely different character shift. Adam Rose with a different character shift. All they did was they were Vaudevillains. They were either happy or they were sad. And they didn't have any. Simon Gotch, this is the only character he's ever been on TV. This is all Simon Gotch has done.
This is pretty much what he was even before he got to WWE.
It is. He hasn't tried anything differently. And I really don't think they have a bright future in WWE. But at the same time, I didn't think the Ascension did. And the Ascension's going to be employed for the next 5 years just working superstars. So, if you're happy doing that, great. Simon Gotch as a single might be able to get something later on because he does look really good in the ring. But what's interesting with Aiden English is you just brought Cesaro back, and Aiden English looks like Cesaro who's been locked in a basement for 10 years. And I don't know if that's going to help him on the roster.
And he is not that level of talent of Cesaro either. He's got the look of Cesaro.
Barely anyone.
Yeah. Simon Gotch, I think best case scenario for him, maybe both of them, is to fall into that Santino role, which would be a very good role for them. If somebody's going to take it, it might as well be these, guys portraying carnies from 100 years ago. Right. And Gotch's perfected that style. He's really good. Loved watching him and Chad Gable trade holds at the Arnold Sports Festival. Also, I wanted to talk before we got into some of these other call-ups. Our own Raj Giri at Wrestling Inc. Today broke the news that WWE has indeed signed Bobby Roode. He will be reporting to NXT. Although, some people would say, Rob, that had this been speculated on TMZ maybe 3 weeks ago, that would be considered official.
Oh God. Yeah, we don't have to get into that.
We won't.
No, we're not teaching journalism class here, although some people may need it.
Although I have been through about 4 years of that. So.
But we're not gonna do that now. But yeah, Bobby Roode coming in for NXT. It's good because you just saw on Monday night all the call-ups that they had. Apollo Crews going up, Baron Corbin going up, Vaudevillains going up. There's room now on TV. There really is. Whether they do anything with Elias Sampson, because it really looks like the Elias Sampson train has derailed. He's going back to being an enhancement talent until he changes his character, which is kind of a bummer. He's not the most exciting in the ring, and that's the problem with teaching WWE style in NXT now, because all of these indie guys are coming up working their style, and Triple H is promoting that style on NXT. You have Shinsuke Nakamura. What are you going to want to see when you have Shinsuke Nakamura in the ring? Are you want to see 8 minutes of headlocks from Elias Sampson? Probably not. And they're actually training and conditioning fans to expect that. So it's going to be tough when you have a guy. Kevin Owens succeeded because people wanted to see Kevin Owens. And, in longer matches, he could turn it up. But Kevin Owens was doing the same NXT TV matches that Elias Sampson's doing. He just had the name and the reputation behind him. Elias Sampson doesn't have that. So it's kind of a bummer on that respect. But Bobby Roode's going to come in, and immediately he's going to be a top contender for that championship, especially if, a guy like Finn Balor ends up going up to the main roster at some point. So Bobby Roode's going to immediately be coming up. And it's interesting that he's going to NXT and not the main roster, because you look now with AJ Styles winning on Raw and getting a title shot, most likely at Payback, but I could very well see it happening on a Raw too. And this is all one big joke. You don't want to have too many of the indie darlings and the TNA guys on the main roster if you're Vince McMahon, right? Like Vince McMahon is thinking, I don't want to be giving all my spotlight to Cesaro and Kevin Owens and AJ Styles and Bobby Roode, guys that I didn't really make. Roman Reigns is up there, but we don't have Cena, we don't have Orton. I don't want my show to be overrun by TNA guys. So Bobby Roode going to NXT, he's going to be a welcomed player down there, but I see him immediately going to the top, possibly if in a program with an Elias Sampson type. But eventually, he's going to have to be doing something big. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be working the mid-card for too long.
And we talked about the main roster possibly being overrun with TNA guys. It looks like NXT kind of is right now. Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, and those you would think that those guys would be
by the indie stars, yeah.
Well, but I mean, really, this does look a lot like TNA a few years ago. That's what it looks like. And how do you think that's going to sit with fans? Do you think they're going to get a little tired of that? Do you think they're going to kind of pump the brakes on the TNA guys for a while? I mean, who else could they sign?
I don't think so, just because I don't think there's anyone else really from TNA coming. All the big names from TNA are in. I don't see Eric Young coming in because they got plenty of Eric Youngs on the roster, you know. I don't think fans mind it because people liked the TNA talent. People wanted to see Samoa Joe in WWE. They wanted to see AJ Styles. There were people that wanted to see Bobby Roode in WWE, and now he's coming. It wasn't so much that they were in TNA and they didn't like these guys. It's just they didn't like what they were doing with them. And now you import the TNA talent to a television show, even though Ryan Ward isn't there anymore, to a television show that's been proven to write these guys in good spots. I think people are excited for it. And I'm thrilled with people were hyped for James Storm coming in. Yeah. Right? So you give Bobby Roode, who has 3 times the talent and a little bit bigger name to him. I'm excited for Bobby Roode to come in. You know, there's a lot of possibilities now since we're 3 months from another takeover. So for the next 8 weeks or so on television, we're going to see kind of just the reshuffling of the deck. And it's interesting. It's unpredictable. We don't know who's going to go with who. We don't know, who's going to be in the title picture. Is Samoa Joe still going to be up there? Is someone else going to be up there? It's an interesting time in NXT. I'm not so much sad that we've lost some talent. I'm excited for the new talent that's coming in.
I look up and down TNA's roster right now, and I see no males that they would even want.
Ethan Carter's the one.
Sorry, I meant to say that. And probably the Hardys for like a little nostalgia thing. On the female side, despite the bad blood between the two sides, if something were to happen to TNA and Gail Kim with the state and the changes that are made, I could definitely see some interest there. And, a couple of those girls. I hope to God not Velvet Sky.
No, Velvet Sky has no business in professional wrestling, honestly. But Gail Kim's an interesting one because she tried it twice and she hated it both times. So if they wanted her back, great. I don't know if she really wants to go back there, but money is money, so you never know.
I don't think she needs money.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, probably, but that's not the issue, right? People with money still want to work and people want to do big things. And there's always the allure of being a big thing in WWE. And a year from now, if you want someone new in the women's title picture that can actually go, Gail Kim is one of them, so there's possibilities there. You have so many women signed to NXT. I would much rather make one of them a star than bringing back a Gail Kim or someone who's been there a couple of times and hasn't lived up to their potential.
Well, I wouldn't imagine her being there for like a major run, but as like one of those nostalgia acts that comes in like a Rhino and works with somebody younger and things like that.
Oh, yeah, I think if you put her in NXT, great. Yeah. If you put her in NXT, I think you could be up for that. And Gail Kim might do that, working 2 days a month. Would certainly be a possibility. I just don't know if a full-time role is ever in her future.
We talk about the TNA guys being likable. How long, or do you even think it'll happen? How long do you think this maybe Austin Aries babyface thing will continue? He is not a likable person to me. Like I look at him in the ring and I'm like, man,
I'm watching him and know
you're a douchebag.
Maybe it's because I like Baron Corbin, but I'm watching him in the ring with Baron Corbin. I'm like, yeah, kill him, Baron. Just send him away.
Yeah.
Do it. He's got flashy moves, but I don't know if he's going to be doing them in NXT. So I don't know if he's really going to get the crowd over. And you can see it in the match. People aren't cheating Austin Aries even on the level of like a Samoa Joe. They're not treating him like a big time star who's now in. They're treating him like, okay, that's respectful. We know who Austin Aries is. But he's never been a top guy wherever he's gone. They tried in Ring of Honor to make him a top guy, and he was always overshadowed by Samoa Joe, CM Punk, at times Alex Shelley, who wouldn't be considered coming in to be a big, top guy. There's reasons why he just never gets over to the level of his talent, and that's just he's not a likable guy. He's a great heel. You just can't put him over as a big time babyface. So I don't know if it's going to last very long at all. I can very easily see him coming in soon as a heel. Maybe even in a program with Bobby Roode. I mean, that'd be pretty cool, right? Playing off of their history in TNA without explicitly saying it.
I would love a Bobby Roode and Austin Aries against American Alpha match.
I mean, well, you could put them in a tag team. Sure, you could do the tag team.
Even if it's just a one-off match, I would love that.
No, I would love a lot of possibilities. Now you have room for tag teams. You just lost Enzo and Cass. The Revival had their little run here. Zack Ryder, it looks like they're probably going to keep going with the Hype Bros. Maybe if Zack Ryder, gets one IC title match on pay-per-view, which that may not even happen.
Doesn't look like that's going to happen either.
You have room. You have room for tag teams coming in. So maybe they put Bobby Roode and Austin Aries together. I would love an Austin Aries Bobby Roode feud, a program. Austin Aries finally comes in from TNA and Bobby Roode's coming in, and maybe Austin's a little upset that he's already overshadowed by another TNA guy. There's a lot of possibilities you have, and that's what I'm saying. The next 2 months of TNA are really, or not TNA, but TNA NXT.
pretty much.
Yeah. NWA NXT. Very, very important time for them because you got all the big names. You got Samoa Joe, you got Finn Balor, you got Shinsuke Nakamura. But what the hell are you going to do with all of them? And I thought it was really cool too. WWE is going to tour Hawaii. It might be one date. I think it's 2 dates. Only one date announced so far. They're going back to Hawaii for the first time in 7 years. And guess who is on the list of talent going to that show? It's a main roster show, but Shinsuke Nakamura is on the list of talent on that show. So Shinsuke already doing like the bigger shows. He's going to be in NXT, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does big WWE tour runs and doesn't just work the NXT. When there's NXT off tours, when they're just in Florida, Shinsuke is going to be on WWE shows. And that's a big sign that, they're looking at him and they know the drawing capability that he is. And they know he's a bigger than NXT name. Next 3 months, man, leading into the next takeover, really exciting time for NXT. Maybe the most exciting time we've had in a long time as far as talents are concerned.
Also, we do know, based on that picture that was published, that Vince McMahon did see that match, that Nakamura-Zayn match. And there's no way that didn't make an impression on him because those two guys literally made a fantastic match and a beautiful story out of nothing. There was no story. It was Nakamura's here, Zayn's leaving. Everybody knew Zayn was going to lose, but I was hooked the whole time. Everybody knew he was going to lose.
I tell you what,
chance. And when he hit that Blue Thunder bomb, I was like, it's over. How? It was amazing.
It was an amazing match. It was the best match that I saw over the weekend. I did not see Will Ospreay and Ricochet, which is getting rave reviews from
Will Ospreay, who has a huge fan in Vince Russo, apparently.
Well, Will Ospreay's got a lot of huge fans now, and he's going to be on this New Japan show on Sunday, so he's going to expose himself to an even larger audience. Will Ospreay, this is a year in the making for him, which is crazy because he's so young. Like ever since the AJ Styles match that really put him on the map, this is a guy that can make the world his over the next year. Maybe the next Ricochet, some people are saying, but might possibly be a bigger name just because of the opportunities that will be given to him. So yeah, Will Ospreay, absolutely big time. But that Sami Zayn Nakamura match, absolutely fantastic. I'm really curious to see over the next couple of weeks of TV how Nakamura does in these little TV matches that he's got. Working Elias Sampson in a TV match that goes 7-8 minutes. That's what I'm looking forward to because not every match is going to be these 20-minute spectacles. He's going to go back to doing the Road to shows just in singles competition, and it's a little bit of change of pace. He hasn't had a singles match that's been basic in 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Zayn, yeah, boy, broke the news. Zayn is not hurt, by the way, on the Wrestling Inc. podcast the other night. For those of you who were worried, he is not injured. Or at least that's what WWE people are telling us.
No, he's not. He's not hurt. It was all a way to get him. And I'm really excited for Sami Zayn, too, because I was scared there for a moment when they were doing the 4-way that they weren't going to go with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a singles program. Like, how do you not do that? The whole reason I cared about this ladder match is I knew the next month Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were going to be one-on-one, and I was scared there. People were worried. That dive in the outside, Sami Zayn's an excellent sell job. He does it greatly. When he was outside clutching his arm, knowing what the angle was setting up for, and people in the crowd are like tweeting out that Sami Zayn rushed to the back holding his arm, I kind of made a joke of it because you can't know right then. I made a joke of it on Twitter. I was like, Sami Zayn, based on one live report and no visual evidence, Sami Zayn is going to confirmed out for 2 years. So you have this issue where Kevin Owens takes Sami Zayn out. It's the same thing over again. They're going to fight. They're going to have a singles match. It was a way to get him out of the picture so Cesaro could come back, so AJ Styles could get the big pop. I was completely fine with Raw. I thought it was a really good show storyline-wise for the title. But yeah, Sami Zayn's fine, and Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens is going to be a big-time match. Imagine that match. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, one-on-one in Chicago, at the Rosemont Horizon, whatever they call it now. I actually forget what they call it now. But that's a big time building, and those people are all going to know who Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are. That's going to be epic.
Yeah, super excited for that. Also, very little happened on tonight's NXT. We had Apollo Crews versus Elias Sampson, and quite honestly, it was a stinker of a match for the majority of it. I thought it really picked up at the end. Apollo Crews brought up to the main roster. I was teasing people early Monday afternoon, but to be honest, the reason I was teasing is because the person who told me he was getting called up, I was like, is this person working me? Because I wasn't sure that this was going to happen. It did happen. I think that Apollo Crews, although he wasn't necessarily, the biggest thing in NXT, I think he's almost more catered for the main roster. He can do some outstanding things, but the outstanding things that he does in comparison to some other guys in NXT don't seem that impressive. But when you take a guy like that to the main roster, I think it will be a sink or swim situation for him, because I think they will have big plans for him. I think Vince probably loves him, which is why he's up there so quickly. He debuted when in August, at the end of August.
Well, he has the look. He has, the body, obviously, for it. And that smile will get over. I mean, people will just like him. You talk about Austin Aries not being likable. Apollo Crews is super likable. So I'm all
It'll either make people really like him or really hate him, which is kind of reminiscent of another guy who used to do that a lot.
Yeah, the issue with Apollo Crews is he didn't have time to do anything on NXT. Like, he was in the ring and he had good matches, but you have to be more than that. And it wasn't his fault. They just didn't put him in storylines that actually got you invested in Apollo Crews. They had the really good video package when he debuted, and that was kind of it. You got to give him a reason to care. And hopefully that's what they do.
Yeah.
It's going to be a month. I don't know if Apollo Crews is going to get a match on Payback, or even, and if he does, will it be an important match, or will it just be a rematch with like Tyler Breeze where it's a squash for a little bit? It'll take some time with Apollo Crews. That's one of the issues with this post-Raw too, with this post-WrestleMania Raw, is they bring up Enzo and Cass, they bring up Apollo Crews, they bring back Primo and Epico in the weirdest way possible.
Weird.
Yeah,
they give these two vignettes. But no vignettes for Apollo Crews.
Yes, no vignettes. Apollo Crews is just there because Shane McMahon gets control of Raw. So, hey, Apollo, you want to wrestle on the show? Great, yeah, I'll do that. That's the story with Apollo Crews. He was just around, like he was available. Where Primo and Epico, and you don't even talk about their names. You don't have the commentators talk about the segment we just saw. People in the building, my co-host on Shake Them Ropes, Jeff was in the building. And he's like, oh, I didn't even know that Primo Epico thing aired on TV. I thought it was just a stupid ad for Puerto Rico. Like, what the hell is that? But those people in the building didn't know what was going on. You don't even know who these guys are. If you've only been watching wrestling in the last 2 years, you do not know who Primo and Epico are because they've been under a mask for the last 2 years. So that was just strange. And then Baron Corbin. You got Baron Corbin up too. You brought a lot of guys up, and it's a strange time because this isn't a time where the roster is super depleted. Yes, we've had our injuries, but you got Cesaro coming back, John Cena, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton will all be back in the next 3 months, most likely. This is a very full roster now. And if everyone stays, uninjured, which would be perfect, you have an awesome roster. You just got a lot of guys that are there looking for TV time, and someone is bound to get lost in the shuffle. And I don't know if that means, you send people down to NXT, you just don't use people. A guy like Tyler Breeze is likely to fall off the radar.
What they could do is make a good show out of it. But
you could try to do that. I'm not getting disappointed at Raw because with all these talents coming back, I can see them, making the show by accident.
I think while I didn't think that Raw was a very good or great show, I thought the last half hour was really good, and I thought that they put some pieces in place to make it a very good show. Well, so really good. Yeah, I'm very optimistic about that. Of course, Enzo and Cass debuted. Yeah. I think that first off, I was afraid Enzo was going to run out of material. That was the promo of his life, and the Dudley Boys were the perfect two people to have them out there with. What did you think of the Enzo and Cass debut? And interestingly enough, no Carmella, which on the bright side might mean hopefully no Velvet Sky.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're ever seeing Velvet Sky in. I just don't see that. But Carmella can always come later. Carmella didn't debut with the Enzo and Cass act originally in NXT. So maybe they bring her in later, whether it's in vignette form or there's just a situation where they're going up against a team with a woman manager, or whatever the case may be. They could always add her later on. It's interesting because that's going to be the issue with Enzo and Cass is can they keep the people with that catchphrase, with that entrance? Because that's all they are. Big Cass is impressive in the ring, but they're not great workers by any means. And you don't really have to be. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, that's the act they're going to be compared to. That's the entrance. So as long as they can keep that going, as long as the people live in the building want to see that act, it's going to get over and it's going to be impressive. They're going to sell a lot of merch. Enzo's going to make a lot of money. And Big Cass, eventually, when he breaks off, is going to be a candidate for a WrestleMania main event. So they have all the potential in the world, these two.
So I have two people that I turn to for casual fan advice. There's my fiance who will watch here and there if something catches her eye. And then my cousin who will also kind of just, I'll send him stuff and see what he likes just to get his feel. Enzo and Cass are the two favorite characters on any WWE programming of both of these people, these casual fans. That says something. Two people that really couldn't care less about pro wrestling. Enzo and Cass appeals to them. It is an attractive act to them.
They appeal to them because you can't wait to see what these two guys do next. You can't wait to see what Enzo says next. You're hanging on every word. You're not going to what his promos. You want to be able to see what this guy says and what this guy does. Now, if you put him in 15-minute matches, people are going to lose interest because Enzo's not able to talk. So that's going to be the really key issue to kind of work around is making sure they're in the ring for the right amount of time and making sure they're in the right amount of programs. And that's why you're right. The Dudley Boys were perfect because the Dudley Boys will be able to talk back. This is going to be a promo battle, and it'll really test how Enzo can get him and Cass over. Because Bubba might say some interesting things. Bubba might say some things that the crowd enjoys. So can Enzo top that and really put Bubba and Devon in their place? And it's an interesting idea because, Enzo and Cass, if they get out promoted by the Dudley Boys right off the bat, they're going to sink. So you got to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm not looking forward to the match big time, but I'm looking forward to 4 weeks of promo battles between the two.
Now, I'll take a break from our normal non-Raw stuff. So there were 3 guys on WrestleMania, Rob. DDP, Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels. Yeah. They're way past any age where they should be performing at WrestleMania. But they're there, and they did great. And you know what they have in common?
Let's see. Mick Foley, DDP, and Shawn Michaels.
Mick Foley, who dropped 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels, who showed up in maybe the best shape I've ever seen him in.
Looked like he had been at the gym for 24 hours a day for the last 300 days just training for this because there were times when he was on TV with a gut. So I'm going to guess the 3 things the thing that these 3 guys have in common is DDP Yoga.
It is ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Rob, a winner is you. ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. A fantastic way to get into shape. Mick Foley said he has dropped 50 pounds since starting DDP Yoga. John Cena is a big proponent of DDP Yoga, and we saw him in the ring delivering an attitude adjustment to Eric Rowan way before he ever should have. Go to ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. and get a great deal on the Max Pack. I've had people all weekend telling me I'm finally trying it. I really like it. I've been retweeting some of the tweets I've been getting. If you see it, DDP also put on a very successful DDP Yoga workshop this Sunday, in which our own Raj Giri attended. We posted some pictures on our Instagram of that. Also, if you haven't, check out the Resurrection of Jake the Snake, available on Vudu, Amazon, PlayStation Network, Google Play, iTunes. I always call it the perfect companion piece to something like Beyond the Mat or WWE's documentary of Jake the Snake Roberts. One of my favorite pro wrestling documentaries, ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Tweet at DDP and DDP Yoga. Let them know that Wrestling Inc. sent you. Lots of cool stuff from that. DDP was in the Battle Royal. That was surprising. He did not tell us that, and my feelings were hurt.
DDP, Tatanka was there, missing his
Tatanka looked like he needed some DDP Yoga.
Yeah, maybe DDP was in there just to kind of network. And get
That's what happened. I bet that DDP wasn't even scheduled to be in it. He just saw Tatanka backstage and was like, because DDP is the ultimate salesman.
Oh, yeah. And
he just followed into the ring. Bro, you got to try the DDP Yoga. DDPyoga.com/Wrestling Inc. That's what he was saying to him. But yeah, good stuff there. One of the, in my opinion, the highlight of tonight's NXT, and it was a video they had already posted. Jason Jordan. Yeah. This guy at the Arnold Sports Festival, the kindest person that I encountered. And I'd probably say Chad Gable was a number 2. All too well. I wasn't even scheduled to talk to them, and they just came up and gave me an interview, which doesn't happen very often with WWE guys. He was being cued off the stage, and he would stop and take pictures with people. These 2 fans who had Down syndrome had conversations with fans at ringside while he was managing Chad Gable. He was a project for a long time, and he has been around for a long time. Yep. A lot longer than some people are given before they are either cut or they just, quit on their own. And some genius said, you know what? He's a really good amateur wrestler. Maybe we should give him the gimmick of being an amateur wrestler. And damn it, it got over. And he won the NXT tag team titles last Friday.
Honestly,
in a match.
Yeah, thank God Chad Gable was such a quick study, because if Chad Gable was like any other developmental guy who came from not a wrestling background, well, he had the amateur wrestling, but he didn't have pro wrestling experience. If he was just anyone off the street that they came and trained as a wrestler, Chad Gable's probably not ready for another 2 years, and Jason Jordan is long gone by then.
Yeah. He was very emotional backstage. And the match that they had on Friday, I thought, left plenty to be desired, but it didn't matter. I was just so overjoyed that these 2 won the tag team titles, and it was incredible. He was emotional backstage, and Chad Gable, you could tell it meant a lot to him. It almost meant more to him that Jason Jordan was getting this than he was getting this. And he said as much. He said that Jason's been around for a long time and didn't know what was going to happen, and now this is happening. And now those 2 guys are made pretty much for the rest of their careers. They're going to have a job somewhere. That's how over they are right now to this. I mean, even if they were to get cut from WWE tomorrow, there are going to be plenty of suitors coming after them.
Absolutely. And Jason Jordan, the thing you worry about Jason Jordan is sometimes the guys who are too nice don't make it anywhere. You kind of have to be an egotistical person to make it to the top levels in sports. You just have to be. Everyone at the top level in WWE is an egotistical person, with the lone exception of Daniel Bryan over the last decade. Daniel Bryan made it despite himself. His talent was just too great that it couldn't be ignored. And it's tough. So Jason Jordan has a road to climb ahead of him. But this team of Chad Gable and Jason Jordan is almost that. They're too talented to ignore. And they're just going to get better, because Chad Gable right now doesn't have all that much experience. This was the largest crowd he had worked in front of. As far as I know, Brooklyn was the largest crowd, but this was the second largest crowd he's worked in front of already. It's just 6,000 people. So there's going to be nights here where Chad Gable gets more experience over time. They're going to be really good, and they're going to be a tag team to watch for probably in 2017 in WWE. And I'm looking forward to that, of course. There's a lot to look forward to here with NXT. Jason Jordan, absolutely fantastic emotion on tonight's show.
2017 tag team division in WWE could be pretty nice.
It can be crazy. It could also be really boring on Superstars.
That's true. I'm ready for about, let's do over under.
No God.
Over under. I'll say 15 matches on Superstars this year featuring a combination of Lucha Dragons and the Vaudevillains.
What? So 15 matches on this year's Superstars?
On Superstars, just through the remaining 9 months that we have.
Oh, God. And the match only has to at least have the Vaudevillains or the Lucha Dragons in it?
Yeah, or all
God, over. Oh, God, over. I would say you're going to be close to 5 with those 2 teams facing each other right then. So if you're close to 5, and then the Lucha Dragons are going to be on there. What really makes it is Vaudevillains, because you don't know if they're going to break up Lucha Dragons, if they're going to send those 2 guys on their own way. Based on SmackDown, it doesn't look like that. But yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of those matches. You're going to see the Lucha Dragons versus the Ascension a lot. You're going to see the Vaudevillains versus the Ascension a lot. And you're going to see the Vaudevillains versus Lucha Dragons quite a bit. And then when Primo and Epico come back up, just insert those. You might as well have 4-ways on every episode of Main Event with those 4 teams.
Somebody asked, what the heck is up with the Tommy? Did his arm fall off? He's had some setbacks from what I understand. And, okay, so here's the thing.
Oh, Hideo Itami. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Shinsuke Nakamura just debuted.
Yep.
Hideo Itami, was in that role, the Japanese superstar NXT. I don't know if his style was really picking up the way they had hoped.
Well, what sadly is he was starting to, before he got hurt, he was starting to get back to his regular self because he was also being more of kind of a prick. He was getting back to the Kenta of old that was in the ring and just wanted to toy with you. He was a real life in-ring troll. And he was starting to get back to that, and then he got hurt. Sadly.
Oh, I wanted him to turn heel and to say that he hated the American fans, especially Full Sail, and that and that he should bring out a row of Japanese fans that just sit there and politely clap at ringside to show the people. But okay, he and Shinsuke Nakamura have had heat before.
Yeah.
Do you think
they're cool now though?
I know, but how long will that last?
When Hideo Itami comes, I don't think Shinsuke is worried about it.
Hell no, he's not worried about it.
What I think Hideo sees here is, okay, I can come back, work with a guy who's used to the stiffer style. I can come back and have a program maybe with Shinsuke Nakamura, and you're not going to put Shinsuke and Hideo on the bottom of the card, right? So Hideo is thinking, like, I want to make my name here. Put me in there with Shinsuke Nakamura. Why not? Put Hideo Itami in there with Shinsuke Nakamura. When Hideo comes back, another guy with possibilities. This is a guy that's probably never coming up to the main roster at this point, Hideo Itami. He's an NXT lifer. And Shinsuke Hideo Itami, that could be a good one. So we'll see how that goes,
Yeah, Itami's had to softball in some of his kicks and things like that with these guys on the roster. I've seen that live.
Can't hurt anybody.
Another question. Would WWE take another shot on Drew Galloway if the opportunity presented itself? I think that's a possibility. But not a definite, but it sure is a possibility.
They absolutely should. Now, I don't know what his deal is like with TNA, but I mean, it looks like he still at least has 6 more months, to do anything of that nature. They absolutely should. Drew Galloway's been amazing ever since leaving WWE. He was amazing with 3MB. I mean, he was actually really good with 3MB. So if he wanted to come back, they should absolutely take him back. He's still super young. I don't even think he's 28 yet, is he?
I don't think so. That WLC match was so underrated.
Oh yeah, no, he was epic.
Such a fun match.
Yeah, so
Drew Galloway's 30.
Is he 30? Okay.
Yeah, that actually shocked me too.
I'm a little surprised because I remember, he was around for a little bit. I mean, he was coming up with Fit Finlay of all people. So I mean, it's been a while, I guess, since he's been around. You just don't think of him like that. And he's only 30, right? Hideo Itami is 37. We're talking about guys who were up there in their old 30s. John Cena coming up on 40. So they got plenty of time for him. I would bring him back to the main roster quick. If you're losing Wade Barrett and you got Sheamus, who's really stale, I would bring him back in a hurry. If you're looking at TNA guys, there's
Sheamus might not be stale long. He's playing rock steady, my friend.
Yeah, he's still stale.
Yeah, you're right.
Sheamus got that go away heat. Bill Simmons was talking about that on his podcast today, talking about how he wishes that Sheamus could go away. So I mean that's not something that we in the bubble are looking at. People on the outside who are more casual WWE fans are looking at Sheamus and saying, "Hey guy, just go away."
And this is a guy though, Bill Simmons, who said, "Hey, didn't you put John Cena over to JBL on live TV?" So I wasn't too happy about that. But Bill Simmons, I like him. I like him as a sports commentator. Last thing about NXT, where does Bayley go from here?
Well, the redemption story is kind of the money-making story for her right now. Redeeming herself, proving that she wasn't a fluke as a champion. They can do a number of different things with her, but I think the road for Bayley is going through some of the mid-card members of the women's roster in NXT, working her way back up to take over in a rematch with Asuka. And potentially getting the title back, actually beating Asuka for the title back. That I think is the story for her. I wouldn't expect to see her in WWE anytime soon because there was certainly no hint of that on Raw. There's no need for her right now on the main roster either.
That's a best of 3 takeover series that I would watch.
Oh yeah.
They could stretch that out.
Yes, and that's it.
Where Bayley has to earn her way up, and then after Bayley wins, Asuka has to earn her way back up, and that leads to another takeover. I think that would be unbelievable.
Absolutely. That's what I would be doing. I don't even know if you have to do the third one on TakeOver. I could very well see them when they're on their Japan tour doing the third Bayley Asuka match on that live special. And maybe Asuka winning the title back there is that's your 2 of 3 kind of thing. And then maybe Bayley goes up, or maybe they just move on to something else. But if you're planning you're going to Japan, I would say have Asuka versus Bayley in Japan with Asuka winning the title then.
You talk about redemption stories, and after what happened on Monday, some people say, "Oh, it's not," but I think it absolutely is. The couple of Emma and Zack Ryder, the absolute shit that these two have been through over for in Ryder's case the last several years. This is a guy who got he was one of the first pro wrestlers to reach 1 million followers on Twitter. He got himself over with a video show, then, was given the U.S. title, but then was that is really the term buried. I think, Zack Ryder fits that where a lot of people don't. He was used to get people over that were struggling to get over, like Kane, who, wasn't getting over in that program, and then just taken off TV for a long time, taken off Raw for a long time. Emma was dead in the water, put with Santino when she debuted in WWE. And from what I understand, she is not like a joyous person backstage. So maybe that wouldn't have worked for her anyway.
That's the issue. She wasn't making the most of that gimmick she was given. So Emma, it's kind of on her a little bit. It's also on the writing team of putting her with Santino. No one's ever going to get over with Santino.
And it's on Walmart a little bit too.
It's on Walmart a little bit, but with Zack Ryder, I mean, we use buried with the term, with that term for Zack Ryder, because he was a guy that was trying to climb out of the dirt. He was making a way for himself, and he was never given the chance. He may not have been this highly successful guy selling merchandise and being in the ring and getting people really to go crazy for him and buy tickets for him. But you don't know that until you give the guy a chance, and they just never gave the guy a chance. Now, he's had really cool moments. Him winning the U.S. title was a cool moment. Him winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania will be a moment that, people will remember for a long period of time, and he has that proof. He was a winner, a solo standout at WrestleMania. A lot of people can't say that. So he's had some good times. But yeah, they've been through a lot. Zack Ryder looks like he's kind of out of the picture here soon as well. Emma might have some interesting stuff coming up down the pike. So it's kind of going uphill for Emma. Zack Ryder trending back to where he was. When we were talking after that Raw, after WrestleMania with Maurice coming back, I thought it was possible that they were going to put Emma and Zack Ryder together as some sort of tandem to going up against Miz and Maurice. That may not happen. It may not have to happen. But I'm liking where Emma could go after now. Yeah, Emma's more herself right now. Emma is the person who's going out there, proving she's better than everyone, kind of pissed off in the ring. She's got a chip on her shoulder, and she shows it. So I'm all up for this new character development with Emma. I've been loving it in NXT. I know we're both really excited to see where it goes on the main roster.
Speaking of people who get angry in the ring, I didn't really notice it until I looked back and actually asked ye olden Trevor, who, name an old Trevor. But anyway, I asked him, and he was like, just go back and watch the match. So this match a couple of weeks ago with Mary Dobson and Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss getting pissed off.
Hey, I tell Alexa Bliss is learning from Emma, right?
Yeah, and it's great. It's great. It's her best scenario for her is to model herself after Emma. And she looked so angry throughout that match, and it worked so well. You could tell she was legitimately pissed off. She stared down Dobson, who I would be surprised if we see back again. After almost slaughtering Alexa Bliss with a body press. But yeah, I mean, and it really looked sketchy from the get-go with that kick into the corner and things like that. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, okay, that void is filled. And also one thing, I think I'm done trying to guess who they're going to call up and at what point in the year they will call them up. Yeah, because even Marie and Emma got called up 2 weeks before WrestleMania. You never see that.
Yeah, you don't see that too often as far as sticking. It looks like Emma's going to stick. I don't know if Eva Marie is going to stick. You know, Eva Marie's working NXT over the next couple of weeks, so I don't know if she's going to stick up on the main roster. But we have to stop predicting when and how, because we would have given 100% to the Balor Club, right? To at least either Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, or maybe all three of them with Finn Balor. That didn't happen.
Listen to the idea that was pitched to me, and I thought it was pretty good.
Don't give it away.
So, no. Not by anybody inside. It was by a fan.
Okay. Because there's an idea, and it's.
He said, "So what if they do decide to go the heel route with Roman Reigns, and they put Gallows and Anderson
away?
What? And they give Gallows and Anderson to Roman Reigns and call them the Roman Empire?
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, there's a 90% chance Payback is ending with the Shield 2.0 in Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson as a tandem for Roman Reigns. You know, I think they like the idea of the Balor Club, but I think they like the idea of those two guys being up on the main roster with Roman, because Roman's a heel now. Let's face it, Roman is a heel now.
You want some more heel heat? It's like, how can you get more heel heat than what Roman Reigns is doing? Well, you put Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows with them.
Take away the Balor Club from the fans that want the Balor Club. That's what you do. And I don't even know if people really care to see, the Balor Club and Finn Balor with them. I think the Bullet Club is cool and all that stuff, but I don't know if they really need to see the Balor Club. You
can always have Anderson and Gallows turn on him, and then who comes to his aid? The Shield, I think there's a lot of fun stuff that can happen there.
There's a lot of fun stuff in WWE too. I mean, let's not go crazy about this Payback. What are we getting at Payback here, right? We're getting AJ Styles and Roman Reigns. AJ Styles in the main event of a pay-per-view for the title, only a couple of months after people were bitching about his program with Chris Jericho, a couple of days after people bitching about the Chris Jericho program. You're getting that match. You're likely getting Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. We're going to get a Miz Intercontinental title match. I don't know against who.
Finally.
I don't know if it's going to be Apollo Crews or who's on the roster right now. If it's not Zack Ryder, is going to go up with the Miz. I don't know.
Did you watch the Madden finals on the Up Down Down channel?
Oh God, no.
You didn't see the little burn that Seth Rollins had on the Miz?
No.
Okay, so they actually did an individual video for it. So, it's up, down, down. Seth Rollins is playing Jack Swagger in the finals, and watching is the New Day, Team Bad, Sasha Banks, The Miz, all these people.
Yeah.
And they have this big trophy. And Xavier Woods says, which one of you two is going to get it? And Miz says, I'll take it. And Seth Rollins says, what, to replace that Intercontinental title that you can't win back? And the whole crowd just, or the whole group there, the peanut gallery, over-exaggerated and went, oh! I guess Miz got the last laugh, guys.
He did. He got the last laugh with that, because Miz is your Intercontinental Champion, and Miz, all that is holy, Maurice is back.
Miz, like David Otunga, a guy that fans don't like, but he's great. A victor in life, a true victor in life, a television star, a WrestleMania main eventer, WWE Intercontinental US Tag Team Champion, and is married to Maurice. Yeah, he is a victor.
He's a champion. He's got Maurice. He's got the Intercontinental title. Dude's a handsome fella, and he's got a long career ahead of him, and he's made smart choices in WWE too, being an ambassador who can be there for a long period of time.
Yeah, I'll tell you who's not a winner. Josh Matthews. I tried to watch Impact last night. Holy crap, he is a miserable commentator. Miserable, and from
by himself or with others, he's just bad no matter what. And he likes to think he's really good, like Joey Styles back in the day. Even though Joey Styles wasn't great as a solo artist, you just kind of remember ECW fondly for whatever reason. No, Josh Matthews is the worst and needs to go away. And TNA will never be successful with him as a commentator. Never.
Yeah, he's even worse as a negotiator, from what I'm told, because TNA has him wheeling and dealing like in some of these negotiations. And he
was an announcer. He was a failed professional wrestler who was an announcer in WWE.
Yeah, I won't speak about him personally, but his announcing ability, oh my God. Like the Pope wrestled Bobby Lashley this week, and I love the Pope personally, and in the ring, I think TNA missed the boat on him. I was glad to see him back there. It was used really to only forward a feud with Bobby Lashley, but good for the Pope. I like the guy. EC3, who is your biggest babyface in the company, his music hits. to save the Pope, who is, he's in the Jerry Lawler role. He's in that role of the guy that the fans are like, oh, okay, he's wrestling again, but he gets crushed, which has happened to Jerry Lawler many times. So this big babyface is making a save on the heel they're trying to put over. And Josh Matthews' response to that is, you hear the music. There he is, Ethan Carter III. And I'm like, are you friggin' kidding me? This is it. But meanwhile, back when Jade and Marty Bell were doing their thing, no matter what happens, they're breathing. The dollhouse! The dollhouse! It's the dollhouse! I don't give a shit about the dollhouse with an A. I do give a shit, however, about your top babyface coming out to save another, at least on your program, top babyface from a monster heel who I watch legitimately kick the shit out of people on Spike TV. That's all I have to say about that. Glad to see the Pope back. I wish they'd bring him back in the ring. Talking to Ivelisse tomorrow. Got an interview with her, Rob.
Cool.
Yeah. Excited about that. One of my favorite characters on Lucha Underground. Yeah. Her, Son of Havoc, and Helico, my favorite trios team, maybe ever. That's how much I love those three. What should I ask her?
I don't know.
Should I ask her about the dollhouse?
You should absolutely ask. Make that your last question, because I don't know if that one's going to go over really well.
They need they should have done WrestleCon and had pro wrestling T-shirts made like Dallas Dollhouse. Oh, that would have been great.
Oh God, no, stop.
They should have done it. They should have done it.
Also, I mean, I feel with Ivelisse, you kind of have to ask her, obviously, about Lucha Underground, how that's going.
Of course.
What experience?
The Build-A-Mott stuff, too.
How did she use her previous experiences in TNA and WWE to further her career and make the most of this opportunity? I mean, all the basic questions that you gotta get out there. Would she ever be considered or, wanting to go back now into WWE? What's next for her career, blah, blah, blah. All that good stuff is what you got to ask her. You should also ask her if she could take Chael Sonnen.
Well, she did train for an MMA fight. I don't know if it actually went down, but and she just got hurt like really badly too. She screwed up her ankle, the same one again. That's a bummer.
Good.
That is a bummer. People say, who's the Pope? Elijah Burke, D'Angelo De Niro. Somebody says Pope is.
You want to see him back in the ring? I don't know why. He was never any good.
I liked him. That run at Against All Odds. I mean, he doesn't have to be great in the ring. He just has that thing. That Against All Odds 2010 run, man, that sold me on him.
How could I have forgotten the Against All Odds run of 2010?
It was good. It was very good. If anybody who watched that pay-per-view, I guarantee remembers that.
I'm just being dismissive of Elijah Burke. My gimmick tonight is to be dismissive of Elijah Burke and leave you hanging when you're talking about Ivelisse. Sorry.
Because that's what we do. We do gimmicks. Also, they had a vignette on Lucha Underground tonight. Not a lot of noteworthy stuff on there, but they had the vignettes for Killshot. I think the character's cool, but the vignette was absolute garbage. He just didn't fit in that, but I'm excited, to see what they do with it. Invasion Attack this Sunday. I forgot that it was this Sunday, and I'm covering it. And it got to Tuesday, and I was like, woo! All the hard work of WrestleMania weekend is over. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I'm on the East Coast, and I'm covering Invasion Attack Sunday.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Big show. Exciting show.
It is. It is an exciting show. I am most excited for the never open weight 6-man tag match.
Sure.
I'm stoked for it. Because, I'm not as religious. I don't watch the Road 2s and all that stuff. But I'm consistently entertained by the Elite's YouTube page, which is fantastic.
The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are a fantastic teams, the three of them. And we got the return of Yoshitatsu teaming with Michael Elgin and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So that 6-man, the card up and down. I mean, that's 6-man titles, but you also have a really big main event, which, people were worried with Shinsuke Nakamura leaving, Hiroshi Tanahashi being out of the IWGP title picture, and AJ Styles gone. That who is Kazuchika Okada going to face? What kind of match is going to be that big of a deal? And they went right to Tetsuya Naito. So Tetsuya Naito is in the main event with Kazuchika Okada. Huge big time match. You got Camacho of WWE and NXT fame debuting in New Japan.
TNA infamy as well.
Well, yeah, Against All Odds 2015. You're going to throw that at me? Do they even do Against All Odds anymore? I don't know.
I think they do it on TV, like on Pop or something.
Yeah, but I referenced it early. Will Ospreay is debuting on this show against Kushida. So, I mean, there's a lot of big stuff. Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta going up against Matt Sydal and Ricochet.
So that's going to be a very telling match, at least from what is being said, because Ricochet can get out of his Lucha Underground deal after season 3, which is filming. He's not going to be there for some of that because of his New Japan commitments. And if he loses, and now I don't know how his Lucha Underground contract is set up, because he's obviously allowed to do New Japan and appear on their pay-per-views and has shown up, New Japan on Access doesn't really matter. Maybe the Ricochet character, maybe there's a different set of rules that he had put in place if he's getting this different deal, that maybe Ricochet could appear on the Global Cruiserweight Series. What says you, Rob?
I would put it as doubtful that he appears in the Global Cruiserweight Series, and not necessarily because of any contract status with Lucha Underground. I just, I just for some reason don't see it happening, but in theory, he probably could. I mean, different contracts exist in Lucha Underground. Everyone has different types of deals. Like Hernandez gotten that fluffle or kerfluffle or whatever you call it with TNA because his contract stated that it was when the season aired when he could no longer appear on other programs. So there's different contract statuses. Would Ricochet being in the Global Cruiserweight Series be shocking to me? No. They should want to put him in there. But look at the names announced for this thing. They got some really cool names coming in for this. Some weird surprises like Ho-Ho Lun and Lindsay Dorado is showing back up in the world on this.
I have no clue who those people are.
Lindsay Dorado is a former Shikara star who was a big deal in Shikara, but now is kind of relegated to working Florida independents. Ho-Ho Lun is an Asian star that doesn't have a lot of name value right now, but if a really small circle of people. Then you got the Will Ospreay, who couldn't be in this tournament because he's signing with New Japan full time, which maybe tells you what might happen on Sunday. You're gonna have the Zack Sabre Jr.'s Kota Ibushi confirmed for this show. So confirmed in the new journalistic sense that we have to live by, Sean. A lot of cool names coming in for this. Ricochet being in there would just be the icing on the cake. And of course, all the great names you have coming in for this Global Cruiserweight Series is just going to make Manny Andre a bigger star because he's going to beat them all.
Yeah, he wrestled in a dark match in Dallas. So
yes, he did.
And so it looks like they're going to keep him off TV until then, as they probably should.
That'll be his debut. They'll run some vignettes for the Global Cruiserweight Series, and hey, we got former Mexican star La Sombra, who is Manny Andre here, or whatever the name they end up using. If they come up with a gimmick name for him, he'll end up using that. But yeah, that'll be a big platform for Manny Andre because he'll be the one you have under contract, after this global Cruiserweight Series. So he's the one you really want to promote this behind. They
are friggin' geniuses for NXT. We hear all this stuff. That brand split, no. Which I did break down what a brand split could possibly look like. And you know what?
You don't
want that. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that rough if you count all the NXT guys, but you still no.
Hey, I tell you what, I don't think a bland split is happening where you have Raw guys and SmackDown.
Bland split is a good term.
Well, I no pun intended, and that was said on purpose. But a brand split is not going to be something where you have Raw, SmackDown, separate guys. Yeah, I could see something where you have, now we can't look too far ahead because the Vaudevillains are debuting on SmackDown, but the New Day debuted on SmackDown. Tyler Breeze debuted on SmackDown. They work both shows. I can see a situation though where the Vaudevillains and guys like that come up and they're only working SmackDown, right? Mm-hmm. It might be a waste because what are they going to do on Monday nights? Why would they be on the road all weekend just to have no booking on Monday and then go on to SmackDown? Probably not going to happen. But the Vaudevillains can be like a SmackDown exclusive. You start doing these SmackDown exclusives, not necessarily Raw and SmackDown exclusive, just guys that are on the SmackDown to try and keep their ratings up. If you want to see these guys, you can see them on SmackDown. I don't think we're going to get into a brand split period. There's just not enough talent, even with the influx of the guys returning, not enough talent to have really cohesive storylines on two separate shows. And if you are USA Network, you want Raw and SmackDown to work together, don't you? Because you brought SmackDown on. You don't want viewers to have to pick one show or the other. Exactly. You want them to work together. You want to promote a match on Raw that will take place on SmackDown, SmackDown to take place on Raw. Cohesive 1-2 punch.
Now, you're way deeper into New Japan than I am. who do you think is going to step up in the absence of, like, I mean, we see obviously Naito, but he was kind of close anyway in the absence of an AJ Styles.
Well,
and Shinsuke
Naito
in the main event level.
Yeah, they tried to push Naito as the guy a couple of years ago as a babyface, and it just didn't work. People didn't want to see him.
It doesn't help when you've had your knee worked over for an entire tournament and you don't sell it.
Yeah, no, it just didn't work for him. Now with his heel character, I mean, this is the best Naito's been maybe ever. I would not
get over as a babyface with that hair.
Yeah. Hey, I tell you, I could very well see Naito winning the title here. Kazuchika Okada had his year-long redemption story. He beat Goto, so he has a successful defense. I can see Naito winning the title here and then not facing off with Okada until Wrestle Kingdom, where Okada wins it again. So I would not be shocked if Naito wins the title here. You're going to see a couple of title changes, I really do believe. I think you might see a tag title change. You might see the never open weight 6-man tag titles change, because you always do. Like, they always change. They've been a tag title for 4 months and they have like 5 different reigns. So you're going to see a lot of title changes here on Sunday. But stepping up to replace Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles will be Tetsuya Naito, and a resurgence in the junior division, both in the junior tag and the junior division, with Will Ospreay coming in, and maybe some fluidity as far as the junior tag team titles. So I think you're going to not so much see a replacement on the top of the card. You're going to see a more well fluid, in-depth card from top to bottom.
Somebody on the comments says, some people pay great money for a discreet kerfuffling.
Yeah.
That's true. Rob, anything to leave our wonderful viewers, fans with this evening? We are back tomorrow night at 10, mind you.
We're coming back Thursday night to talk about this crazy SmackDown that I tried to allude to a lot, but really couldn't get in depth on, because what are we going to talk about tomorrow if I don't? So yeah, this crazy SmackDown, this really interesting SmackDown. So when I'm talking about Roman Reigns being a heel, we'll kind of have the video evidence to back that up. I'm really excited for the show tomorrow. I hope all of you that are watching join us. And who knows, maybe we'll come up with some new ways to throw Josh Matthews under the bus.
And again, nothing personal against Josh. I don't know the guy personally. But
yeah, no, nothing personal. He's never done anything to me except for my eardrums, but he's never done anything personally.
That's a good point. You only have one set of eardrums. Well, I guess 2 sets. I don't know how that works. I don't know the term.
Follow me on Twitter at ShakeThemRopes. Come say hi. If you watch me on this show, come say hi and tell me that you watch on this show. I would love to talk to you guys.
It's on the screen, Rob.
I know. I just wanted to make sure that people are listening to the audio only version, because I understand that the audio only version is very popular.
It is.
Follow me at ShakeThemRopes on Twitter. Come say hi. Tell me that you watch me on this show, and we will converse about this crazy grappling fest we all seem to love.
See, now you made me a heel among the viewing audience.
Oh, did I?
Or not the viewing audience, the iTunes audience.
Yeah, we don't care about you guys. People who are watching the video can see your name. Don't even talk about the audio. I am a man of the people, all people. Whether they are watching, whether they are listening, whether they are brailing out there, I am a fan of all the people.
Also, our YouTube chat is lit per usual.
Oh, are they?
So yeah, always crazy.
People want to see a tuxedo match against Josh Matthews. I will tell you what, I do not look good in suits. I don't look good in anything. I'm really an ugly man.
Man, somebody says heel Sean. How did I turn heel? Oh, I guess I did on the iTunes people. Man, I've got short-term memory issues, you guys. Anyway, join us tomorrow night at 10. We'll be back talking all the weekend news. Raj had a bunch of exclusive tidbits. Don't know if he's going to join us or not. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. DDPyoga.com/wrestling inc. TrendyButler.com. All caps. Wrestling10 is your code. We are back tomorrow night. Until then, guys, we are gone.